As a health and wellness coach, I'm always looking for ways to help people live healthier lives. Today, I want you to meet Karen Chappell. She is the owner of Karen Chappell Pilates, and she runs a Pilates studio out of her home here in Davidson. So I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into Pilates.
Okay, well, thanks, Karen. I've been teaching Pilates almost 25 years now, and I started back in California, where I'm from, and I have taught in all sorts of places, in gyms, in studios, in people's houses. Now in my house, I've taught children. I was a coach on a track team. I taught the track team and the cross-country team outside as part of their training for their sport. So I've kind of been all over the place. Since we moved here about 4 years ago, I've been teaching exclusively here out of my home studio.
Okay, great. Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about the services you provide, specifically in-home or over Zoom?
Sure. I teach mainly private lessons here in my studio, here in my home in Davidson, which includes all this equipment. If you can see it behind us, I pretty much have everything that is made. So we've got about 500 different exercises that you could use on 10 different pieces of equipment. So I do that here. I also teach quite a few people online. When we moved here from California during COVID, everyone had to switch to online lessons. And for some reason that just worked. And so most of those people just stayed with me. And so I continue to teach them online. And I think they like it that they can just go to their living room, pull out their mat and turn on their computer, and we can get a really good workout just from home without having to drive anywhere or be worried about what you look like or have people watching you. It's just you in your home working out. And I actually really do see a lot of what's going on, because I don't think they would have stayed with me this long if they weren't getting a good workout.
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful. I love that you offer in-home as well as online options. Can you tell us a little bit more about Pilates?
Sure. So Pilates was actually invented by a guy named Joe Pilates. Many people don't know that. And he came here to the United States from Germany in the 1940s, like that, something like that. And he died in late 60s, 1968, something like that. And so while he was in New York City, and he was teaching mainly a lot of dancers because they were injured. And so people heard about him through word of mouth and went there to get fixed so they could dance again. So it kind of started, it wasn't really developed to be for injury rehab, but it kind of got that reputation. And then once the dancers found out about it, they were hooked and they didn't want to leave. So then they just started going there for strength and conditioning. But many people think that Pilates is for skinny, flexible dancers, but that's not really the case. It's for everybody. What we really think about, one of my teachers always called it stretch, strength with control. So we're working all three of those pieces together in each exercise that you do and trying to balance the body. So if you're imbalanced, so say you have tight hamstrings or you're tight around your shoulders, we need to open you up where you're tight and strengthen you where you're weak, so you'll move more efficiently and be in less pain. So sometimes that means, a lot of the times it means strengthening your core, what everyone thinks of, and that's definitely in all exercises, but it's also identifying areas that you need to work on to make yourself more balanced. So it really does apply to everybody. My oldest client is 79 years old, and she still does it on Zoom, on the floor in her home, twice a week.
Wow.
And
that's so great.
Yeah. And so you don't need to be a young, healthy person. And if you have like little aches and pains and things, like your knee always kind of bothered you, or your back's kind of sore, those kinds of things, that's the kind of thing that Pilates is really helpful for.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today and sharing your passion about Pilates. And for those of you watching, please be sure to follow Lake Norman Connect for more spotlights on all the amazing small businesses in our area. All right, take care, Lake Norman.